Hello, welcome to the Critical Obsession podcast. My name is Mirella,
And I'm Zoe.
and today we're going to watch and react to the second part of episode 10 of Not Me. We've had a bit of an issue with the intro.
Oh, we just keep forgetting what we're doing. I don't know if it's because it's been a while. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it's because we've had breaks or whether it's just we're so much stuff in our brains at the moment. I think probably more the problem. So I don't know if I sound like Marilla just told me I sound really sick. I am really sick. Just like clarify that. But I was hoping I was going to go for that, like, when you get a cold and you think you sound really like
Sexy.
throaty and sexy. Yeah, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, does this sound good? And like in reality, I'm probably like, eh. So hopefully it's not too jarring and too horrible. And I'm going to have to try not to laugh too much, which for me is hard because I feel like that's going to set me off on the coughing, but we'll try to avoid that. But yeah, we're both kind of free. And we're both conscious. So we thought we would take advantage of that.
As much as possible, considering the circumstances.
That's right. We thought we'll attempt part 2. We'll see how we go. I had lots of fun last week doing part 1, and it kind of got away from us there for a moment. But I noticed you guys have been listening to it, which is good. Hopefully you're enjoying it. And
so
part 2. Wow.
Let's do this.
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right. So part 2. The violent part. One of the violent parts.
So when you said the violent part, I was like, sort of. In comparison to later, this is like a violence light. But
is it though?
It's almost like a foreshadowing. I mean, look, this is a harsh moment, but it's almost a foreshadowing kind of things to come, like karma. You know what I mean? A little bit.
Kind of. Well, okay,
Yeah.
so we had that conversation between Sean and Goomba, and Sean
Which
is...
I found interesting.
It's certainly interesting. So he is kind of stalling. He's asking maybe we should lay low, and Goomba is like, no, kind of too late for that. And
well, it's interesting though, because before he says that, he's like Goomba says to him, like, about him getting into it like so early. Like, also obviously we know Sean is gung ho and he works out, he does all that sort of stuff because we've seen that in the past when they were doing the the parkour on the building and that, and he was like wanting to do more, and the others were like, we're dying, leave us alone. So he's clearly, he does that, but obviously not this early in the morning. This isn't enough of an anomaly. Oh my god, I can't say that word. Anomaly. That's the one. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, the English is my first language. Can't say the word. So it's enough of that for Goomba to make mention of it, and him saying, like, you're getting at it early kind of thing. And Sean's reaction to that is about them being like, no, he said, what does he say? He says, I want to get it over with. And then he cites the reason for being that is that they were followed. He says he uses the universal, the royal we were followed. And then he clarifies and says,
it's like he finally wants to get over with this one and start living his life.
Yeah, well, I think is that, but also, like, because he says, he clarifies to Goomba and says, Black and I will follow coming back here, sort of thing. So it's interesting because we know he's been like full bore, I want to do it now. He's in such a rush before to get his revenge, to whatever. That's his motivation. Like, his sense of urgency is because he wanted his revenge, right? And now I feel like in this moment here, before he flips to the other side and says, should we lay low, this sense of urgency that is in him is like fear of something happening to White, potentially, because now it's different. He has this thing to lose, like, as you said, like, there's obviously that, what you're saying, like, this idea of, let's finish this and move on. But also I feel like because they were followed, like, we know in the last episode, the bit where they're, after they'd been followed and they're in the garage, and like White is trying to like kind of calm him down. He's
Mhm.
agitated and stuff like that because he was worried,
Mhm.
he was frightened for himself and for White, and
Mhm.
so it's interesting that he's like, I want it over, and as I said, the motivations have changed, the reasons have changed, the payoff is slightly different, the initial motivation being revenge, and if it was dangerous or whatever a few weeks ago, he would not have cared. It's not an issue for him. It doesn't matter. But now this danger applies to White as well, which is something he's not comfortable with. And so it's interesting how he
it's
said
that, but also I think it's about him being scared for himself because he wasn't scared for himself before,
yeah. Well, he has something to
and now
lose
he
now.
wants to
He's
leave.
now that
Yeah, and he
yeah,
has something to
yeah,
lose. Yeah, and then I like the
exactly.
conversation that they have with the topic of good and bad cops, and they bring up Pattaya, which I googled, and because I remember hearing about it somewhere, and apparently it's like the capital of prostitution, because they
Oh,
mentioned
okay,
that the
yep, yep.
cops do not notice the prostitution in Pattaya, and I think the high prices of lottery tickets, right?
Yep.
And so they basically talk about the fact that they need a good cop, and Sean makes it perfectly clear that he doesn't really believe in that concept anymore.
No,
Yeah.
he doesn't trust them. And
But Yok appears, and oh my god, like I really don't like his attitude here. Like it's like he's
he
trying
is
to take it by storm.
uh,
It's like he's on, like how like a mutineer or something. Like he's challenging
yeah,
him. Like
yeah.
it's like he's being so aggressive, and I don't really understand why. Are they showing us that he's a fool in love? Like
I think
what
so too,
happened to
because
him?
for me, he never seems so young as he does in this moment because he bets his life on this trust of this person that, let's be honest, he barely knows,
He
right?
barely knows.
Share it,
He not
they share
only
a
yes,
passion.
he not only brings
Yeah.
a cop, and like it's Sean's plan, and even
Oh,
Gunpai is
and-
like, oh, it depends on you. He's being very soft with Sean, but he's like challenges him, approaches him very closely, like a like these animals who are like become very
yeah,
big when they're trying to challenge another male or something. And it's
yeah.
like, what are you doing? This is not the way to approach him. And he does that, and he does not even wait for for him to calm down, for him to think about it. He brings Ionar with him, and it's like he's here, and he sets an ultimatum.
Mm.
He is very unreasonable here, and like he
Oh,
does not
sure.
really just does not just bring a cop. He brings the cop into the
Yeah,
equation.
I mean, that's right. And I mean, the thing is as well to understand, I mean, putting it in perspective as well, beyond the fact that, as you said, he's just done this thing which was super aggressive and uncalled for, and he knows he knows Sean rather well enough to know that that is not going to be something
That
that
is not
flies.
the way
He's
to
not going to.
approach him.
It's not how
Yes,
you approach
you
at
need to
all.
be calm
And
with him and reasonable and keep cool and just give him
I,
time to think
that's
think
right.
things
And
through,
he
to calm
clearly
down. Yes.
Yeah, and he clearly knows how to talk to Sean because we see that
Mm-hmm.
the morning after the beverage factory
Yeah.
thing where they go back to Yoke's place, and Yoke is very candid with him about the fact that it was a crap plan, and
Mm-hmm.
like maybe he should be more considerate in regards to White's ideas and all this sort of stuff. And so and he handles him very well. He uses humor, and it's just the way they have a rapport. And what he does here is completely like off the wall sort of thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's like, even besides the fact that, as you said, he's bought the cop and all the rest of it, the fact that he has bought somebody who, as Sean says, he's an outsider, right? Not only has he bought him into, like, enlightened him about the gang and everything, but he's actually brought him to their hideout. And it's not just their hideout, it's also Sean's home. So he's brought this guy, this unwanted, potentially threat, into his like safe space, essentially. And so he's done that, and then he goes ahead and gives them their names and like who they are, and it's all just, it's such a invasion,
Yeah.
beyond anything else. The other thing is the
he
other
breaks
guys
their
aren't there.
trust. He just basically
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very bad.
Graham and Black aren't there, so it's almost like it's an ambush. That's what it comes across like, and that's what it feels like. So on one hand, you kind of like, when he gets slapped, you kind of like the first initial like smackdown, after sort of Sean turns the tables on him, you kind of like, well, you deserved that. But then when Sean like kicks him in the face, you're like, maybe not that.
Yeah.
maybe
Too
that was
much.
a step too far.
Too far. Yeah.
But yeah, but it's interesting. I just want to go back for a second to the bit we were talking about before, where when we first started talking about this, you mentioned how Sean was like, oh, I want to, like, should we lay low or whatever. And I thought this was a really interesting moment, because as I said, we had this change in urgency, for like the motivation of this urgency change. But then he does this thing, which to me is like, and I never really noticed it when I was watching it. Like, I enjoyed this moment and everything, I thought the scene was interesting and blah, blah, blah. But I've seen this many, many times. I've thought about this show so much, as you know, we both have. We've talked about it a lot. And I have actually been thinking about this episode for as long as it's been, guys, that you've been waiting for us to do this. And we've been talking about doing this. And I've been like fearing doing this. I've been thinking about episode 10, And as I was watching this, and I just thought, there's this moment where like, it's very brief between where he's like, has this thing and I just want to get it over and done with, blah, 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 to when he then says, or should we lay low? It's like this little kid who is not sure and wants not validation, but like it's too important to him for him just to base it off his own like instincts, like we see. And it's interesting because we see in the beginning this battle he's having with White, aka Black, who he thinks is Black, in that he's like, you don't trust me, you won't let me make my own plans, blah, 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 I know what I'm doing, all this, like, he's really like headstrong about the whole thing. And yet here he leans into Gunpei and sort of says, like, what should I do? Like, what is the best thing to do? And I mean, obviously Gunpei is clearly that mentor for all of them. Like, you see it in the way that Gunpei deals with Black later on, and like their interactions and stuff. He speaks to Black in a way that none of the others would have ever gotten away with. And so we get this impression that, and even when, as you said, Gunpei and Sean are having the discussion about cops, I don't know necessarily that Gunpei knows his full history, but he knows enough to know that there's a reason for the way Sean is the way he is. And so, like, the way he sort of says to him, like, he's like, I just want over and done with. And then he's like, or should we do this? Like, he's like, he's like, it's almost like he doesn't quite trust his own instincts now because, as you said, there's this.
I don't agree.
There's other factors to it. Sorry?
I don't think that he does not trust his instincts. Maybe he just understands that he has a very subjective view about some things, and now he seeks opinions, outside input.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe that's White's influence as well.
Yes,
because,
definitely.
Yeah, I
don't know.
Maybe I don't. Yeah, no, you're right. Maybe I don't mean he second guessing himself. Maybe I mean more like he's what's the word I'm looking for?
He's willing to debate it. He's willing to talk about it.
Yeah, like he's
more flexible.
I feel like
he's more flexible.
Yeah, I feel like he's less assured of the fact that he's right. You know what I mean? Like his way is the way to do it. Because and I assume, as that White's influence, but also factors of his motivations have changed. There is some fear, there is some whatever involved. It's just interesting the way he does this, like, on one, because like before he's like, this is the plan, this is what we're doing, rah, 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 and here he's like, I think I want this to happen. Then he's like, or should we do this?
Oh, well, you remember the way he was in episode 8 when was it 8 or is it 7? 7.
I'm not sure.
When he discovered that his plan actually hurt some people.
Yes,
with the
true.
factory.
That probably factored into it. Yeah, Yoke's mum was affected and stuff. Yeah, and it's interesting too because I feel like this moment is when he does that. Like, you know how Goomba kind of like laughs. Like he doesn't laugh, but he like kind of chuckles and says like, "Do you really think you can lay low now?" Like he's it's not really amusement. It's more like he's bemused instead of rather amused, and it's like he's like, really, this is coming from you, like, well, like what's happening here, you know?
You can see that he's fond of him.
Yeah, and the light. I feel like this is the start of the light bulbs turning on, you know, because like later on in this episode we get his like we have the conversation between him and Sean about Black and feelings and all that sort of stuff, and we know, like, I feel like, you know, I made a joke in part 1 of episode 10, the podcast from last week, where I was talking about Black and Todd, and I was like having, you know, having 2 dolls and being like, now kiss. I feel like Goomba was doing that with with White and Sean from like day 1, because when White turned up, he was like, you must live here, you must sleep in the same bedroom.
Yes.
He's like, now kiss.
He's like
So
he's very talented at matchmaking. I think he is great. I think he should consider that for another job, like for a hobby or something. Yes.
Yeah. You know,
clearly he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's like daytime anarchist, nighttime matchmaker.
Yes.
Or the other way around. I don't know. I think probably nighttime anarchist, daytime matchmaker, maybe.
Yeah.
But
another thing that I wanted to. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, because like he clearly runs this garage that doesn't seem to function as a business. He's always wearing overalls, like he's actually doing something. But there seems to be, so if that is a part of his like life plan that fails him, then matchmaker, yeah, you're right, is definitely a possibility for him.
Another thing that I noticed was that when he entered the garage, Yunar, Dan, did not look surprised to see Sean there at all. Which means
because he knew.
He knows.
Like,
he knew who he was. He knew who he was following or like inquiring about when he was talking to Yok.
Yeah,
he knew.
I feel like, look, if you're a good cop, and he seems to be a good cop in terms of, you know, doing your research, all that sort of stuff, he was going to know. And also, you think he has this guilt in him anyway. He may have even been like keeping tabs on Sean, like not in a way that he would actually know this was happening until it actually happens, but like enough to know, you know, where he lives, where he goes to university, that sort of thing. Like maybe he knows those things already. And you know, if he had been following Yoke at all, and he had found the garage on his own, then he may have seen Sean there. He, you know, like, we have to obviously make assumptions based on certain things, but to me, he definitely knew beforehand, and he knew that this was, the funny thing is that Dan knew this was a bad idea. Like, he tries to like extract himself from the situation by saying, you know, I'll come back later, I'll leave and come back later when this has all been resolved. And I mean, it's funny because he understands Sean's hostility, even if Sean doesn't understand the reason for the full extent of it. And so, yeah, he's kind of like being quite mature in this bit, whereas Dan, as I said, Yoke looks so young, and the way he's like, I trust him, and I'll bet my life on it, and I'm gonna leave the gang, and
big
and
words,
all that sort of
big
stuff.
words.
Yeah, and Sean's just like, are you freaking serious right now? And I think the other thing is in this, we, you know, like, we talk about how White has become this like catalyst for the group's growth and interaction and bonding and stuff, in that, you know, they don't appear to have really been friends or anything in the past, and we slowly start to see the relationships building between them, and especially, or in particularly, between Yoke and Sean. And so this even probably feels a little bit of a betrayal to Sean too, because he's like, he was starting to trust him, starting to think he understood him, that they were on the same page, you know, and all this sort of stuff. And it's funny though, because there's a line in there where he says something like, Sean says something to him about, I told you not to like go after the artist guy when he's explaining, Dan's connection to them and
Mhm.
to the, like the fact that he's, risking things too because he's doing this like illegal street art and blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And where Sean sort of says to him, I told you to like leave that alone. And Yoke says it's a very friend type thing, or it's almost like friend slash little brother reaction where he's just like, I don't like listening to you, like when you order me around, sort of
Mhm.
thing. It's like if he'd have put his hands on his hips and went, "You're not the boss of me," like it also would have fit that moment because it was basically the same thing.
It's like
And
he's
there's a little kind
rebelling
of
against something.
yeah, but it's kind of like it's such a friendship thing to do. Like it's not like the animosity that you see in the first episode between the interaction between Yoke and White, where White is trying to be black and Yoke's just like get away from me. Like it's
Mhm.
not that kind of
Mhm.
animosity. It's like the one where you joke around, like this they're having this serious moment, and yet he still takes kind of a second to kind of like mock him almost because that's what you do with friends. Um, and so,
To me,
yeah, and then of course this
it felt
whole
a bit like a Big Brother moment. I do not
it
follow
did,
the
I did. I felt
orders.
yeah, I felt more yeah, like younger brother, big brother,
Mhm.
yeah. So and it's like
Me, who does not have one,
no, it
any siblings.
definitely that's why I said sort of yeah, younger, like yeah. And it's kind of like um it's a cute kind of moment in this like serious like drama, if that makes any sense. But you blink and you miss it. It's one
I
of
don't
those things.
know. I don't know. I did
Um
not perceive it. Like the way that things happened in this scene did not feel cute or like a family
no,
moment to me.
I
In the
don't mean it
context of
like that.
everything, I understand, but
Yeah.
it's just that
I
I
mean,
feel like because of the way that we analyze things right now, this is the first time when I really got pissed with Yok.
yeah.
All the other times
And
that
I
I
mean,
watched it, I was like, whatever, things are happening.
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess Sean was too much here, like whatever.
We're
But
like,
right now, I'm like, oh
we're,
God, what's wrong with you? Why are you
yeah,
like this?
you're like way more invested in a completely different way.
Yes,
But
and it's
I think I'm
definitely
looking.
foreshadowing because he did
Oh
that,
yeah,
and then you think that
yeah,
Sean is too much, and they make you think like, yes, Yok did not act reasonably, but then Sean didn't either. So maybe, but then you are proven that yes, actually, Sean probably was right. Well, maybe not
yeah.
about every cop or
In this
you know,
instance, Sean was
yes,
right to be wary. Yeah,
to be wary, but just he was right to react the way he reacted because what the fuck? Like you do not do that.
yeah.
You not do that with
Oh,
friends. You
for
do not do
sure.
that when you're in a group with people where you're planning to do something and here's the leader who came up with the plan and like this is not how you do things.
No,
So then
that's
you are
right.
proven that Yok was
And
so
also, they've
wrong in so many
more.
ways.
Yeah, and more or less, even though like we saw or it was alluded to that Black was kind of like leading most of the charge in the beginning. And then we have Sean where they all kind of defer to him a little bit as well, especially because White is not really sure what he's doing in the beginning. But they do show us is that when they make their decisions, it's like fair and as a group. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like playing that weird crocodile game and stuff like that. That's all about doing it, not one person making the decision. Like you get the right to make the decision after it's that, but the process is the same, and they come together and they have conversations about this is happening, this is what we should do, whatever, blah blah blah. And then this happens where it's like it's, as I said, it's very much like an ambush because the others aren't there. He should never have taken Dan with him if he was going
Yeah.
to go there and approach this as a thing, like as a suggestion, as an idea,
Mm-hmm.
as something he wanted to happen. It should have been, him calling a meeting with everyone there, having a conversation, hashing it out.
Not bringing
Even if,
him to the fucking place.
yeah, don't bring him to the secret hideout, which also happens to be Sean's home. Like it's just, you know, it's such a red flag, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, But it's, and of course, yeah, we really sort of, once again, they double down on letting us know like how Sean feels about the police, which, I mean, is understandable from what we know of his backstory and everything. And also, if you think about like people who live on the fringe, or people who are I used the word anarchist earlier, and I guess they are a little bit, but that's not quite the right terminology for them. That's not really what they're doing. But you know, this idea of like having constantly been let down by people who are meant to be supportive, who are meant to be there for you, whether it's because of corruption or like whatever. Like even without what happened to him happening, it would make sense for him to be anti-police. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that even though Yoke doesn't know his backstory, the fact that he thought they would be okay with him just rolling up on there with a cop is just like mind-blowingly like I don't know. Is it arrogance? Is it immaturity? Like, I'm not really sure. Like, he seems really young to me in this moment. Like, really. And I mean, I guess kind of maybe that's part of the point as well, because later on when he does learn that he was, you know, maybe making some poor choices, it's a hard thing to learn, you know what I mean? But it's a lesson learned, you know what I mean? So maybe we are meant to see him as young in this moment and naive. Naive was the word I was looking for, I think. Versus innocent. But yeah, and I'm just I still couldn't get over the fact that he just bought this outsider there, and
But
it's so funny that you're like, I'm so angry.
I'm not angry. I was just thinking. Actually, it kind of makes sense. One thing makes sense for me, because, for example, with Graham, he's driven by his ideals, right? Basically, his mind. But with Sean and Yoke, it's their hearts. And from Sean's point of view, it's, I don't even know. Is it heart? It's like maybe identity, because his whole identity was hurt and like wrecked because of the things that he's been through. But with Yoke, it is definitely his heart, because it's about his mother, it's about the art, it's about love. This is what drives him, his heart. And so when the heart is the only thing that drives you and the thing that you listen to most, things like this are bound to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think also the difference between Yoke and Sean is that Sean has had this tragedy that involved the police, right? I mean, like, it's a pretty big fucking deal. A cop killed his dad, right? Regardless of any of the rest of the story and about the drugs and whatever and Taiwi, a cop shot his dad, right? So he has that reality in his life, whereas Yoke, as you said, he's motivated by his heart. He's motivated by the injustice that he sees society surrounding his mother, but that's not a specific thing
His
to do with
emotions.
the police or whatever. He doesn't. Yeah, but he doesn't really have a beef with the police. Do you know what I mean? Like, he has a beef with, say, like maybe rich upper class society who look down, or people who are you know, marginalizing people with disabilities, or whatever. Like, his thing is like more broad spectrum, like anger at society, based on, as you said, from the heart, from his mom. But he doesn't have that same, like, he doesn't see the cops in the same way that Sean sees the cops. Like, he sees the cops as in, like, we're committing crimes, cops bad, we should avoid them. But he's not, like, I mean, you know, when Dan initially takes him, you can see he's a bit like freaked in that, and he's a bit, you know, especially when Dan doesn't take him to the cop, like to the I was getting really into Australian slang then. I was going to say cop shop, into the police station. Um, you know, like, he starts to consider that maybe Dan is bad, you know, and so you see that little bit of fear of him initially when Dan sort of takes him to his hideout. But as soon as he realizes that he's not a threat or whatever, like, he just starts flirting with him. Like, he doesn't have this massive fear of cops. And even when he like found the wallet and realized he was a cop, he was like, oh crap, you know, but he wasn't. You get the impression that he still at some point would have tried to continue to find him and, you know, poke the bear, so to speak. Whereas Sean is so triggered, which makes perfect sense. So their reasoning and their behavior in this scene, it does make sense. And also, I think as well, as you said, you mentioned with Yoke being from the heart too. Like, this is, you know, maybe this is first love, and we already know he's like kind of obsessed. So you sometimes in those moments you don't see the warning signs until it's too late. Like you only see the good stuff. You don't see any of the bad stuff.
Yeah, and you're ready to
And I'm
protect
totally
that
about to
person
sneeze.
against the whole world.
I did want to say something else that I noticed in this
Okay.
where I didn't really like. Well, there's two things. Like before I get to that, well, the other thing that I was like noticed too as well. Like, even though uh like it's the way Sean is with Dan too, the way like when he comes in and he's just like walking in and Sean's like, stop, or I'm gonna beat your ass. Like he's so aggressive to the cop. It's like, dude. I'm like, where is this bravado
Well,
coming from?
because where is it coming from? It's coming from York. It's coming from the reaction that, York.
True. The hostility he brought to the table
Yes,
was ramped up. Yeah.
and that is an extension
The
of York, basically. That person that just came in.
Yeah, and it's probably, as I said, there was also probably a little bit of on Sean's part. Uh, as I said, you were talking about like trust and building relationships between the two of them and stuff like that, and then suddenly there's this. He's putting this person that he's just met above the relationship
Mm-hmm.
that they have. This thing that they're building.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's an interesting thing too. But the thing I never noticed this in the many times I've watched this. I I did not even think about it until the end of this scene where Sean basically almost knocks out Yoke by like kicking him in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, where's Dan? Like, I mean, I assume he left while they made up their mind. AK had a big fight to the death. But like, I had never noticed that he wasn't there in that scene. It
Really?
wasn't until, yes, I just never it didn't occur to me that he wasn't there, and because I was thinking about it, like as you do, and I'm watching it, and I'm thinking, my thought process was like, why hasn't Dan said anything? Like, if he really cared, like, wouldn't he, wouldn't he be like trying to jump in? And I'm like, wait, hang on a minute, he's not even here. Where did he go? So I assume that he left, like, to let them make up their mind. But yeah, I never noticed that he wasn't in the scene before until now. So I don't know what that says about me. He obviously wasn't my main focus in this scene. But yeah, I mean, I may have been distracted by the fact that they both had no shirts on. I don't know. I can sometimes be shallow. But it was just, it's one of those things where I was just like, oh, wait, why isn't he reacting? And it's like, yeah, he's not in the scene. Whoops. Okay, never mind.
Okay, so let's get to part 3.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. So episode 10, part 3 is here. The one everyone has been waiting for.
I'm sufficiently traumatized. I'm like, watch part 3, she says. It'll be fun, she says. I've been looking forward to it, she says. All lies. I forgot. I was not prepared.
Yes, when I looked at the part that we're about to start, I was like, I think she forgot the part we're going to start because there was nothing, no emotion, nothing said before, Oh my God, the worst part ever.
It's like one of my favorite bits of the series, actually, this conversation between Sean and Gunpa. But like, what happens later, not at all prepared. But what I will say, I have a serious question. Like, it's a serious question.
Yeah.
But in this beginning of this scene, and also in the last scene, where just before, like when him and Gunpa are sparring and stuff, I'm like, why is Sean dirty? And I don't mean like the obvious smart ass rude jokes comments. I'm like, but like, why is he dirty? Like, did he get up in the morning and decide to work on his bike or something and then like smear grease on his face and stuff and then fight and then proceed to work out and fight and now he's just like bruised and bloody and dirty? Like, what happened there? It's a serious, honest question. Why is he dirty?
Maybe it's to show us that he's usually I don't know what I'm trying to say. To for a difference to be there, to the contrast for Sean without seeing white and Sean when seeing white, already and dressed up and pretty, dressed up. Oh God.
Yeah, maybe because he's like he there's like this downward spiral, isn't there? Like it's a degrading in his like appearance in this episode. Like he's like a little bit dirty and sweaty, bruised, slightly bloody, you know, and then really bruised and bloody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I was just like that, or they were just Pinucci was just going for Sean is dirty. Put that in your subconscious. I don't know. I was just like, what? Serious question. Oh yeah. Anyway, so this part starts, of course, with Gunpa questioning him about like why he went so hard, and we get the bit just like you said, like Sean is like, he challenged me.
Yeah.
But I love how insightful and stuff that Gunpa is. You know what I mean? Like I love the way he speaks. And I love how Sean is oh no, I love the line Gunpa uses. He says, "Trust takes time."
Yes,
and
someone should tell that to Yok.
yeah, well, right? Seriously. He clearly did not get that memo. He went, boy can kiss, good artist, check, 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 drop the pants. Like, he was like, there was no, he's like, trust? Who that? I don't know that. Yeah, and then how, he's talking and stuff and things like that. And he says, about how he's
Changed.
oh, sorry, I'm like I'm just rambling incoherently right now.
Let me do
sorry.
this. Okay, so they start talking about the plans, about how Graham, is it Graham? No, it's Gunpa. Gunpa says that he's changed, and Sean keeps dodging that. Like Gunpa is trying to get him to say something about White, and he's like, "Huh? What is it? What is it? Nothing is happening." They talking about the plan and about the idea that it might take their lives, and he is basically trying to get Sean to realize, but also face and maybe confess the fact that something has changed for him, and it is influencing the way things work inside their gang. It is having some sort of an impact on the plan. He is trying, I feel like maybe he tried to get him to have that attitude of my life matters many times before, because it somehow feels like it, and now he's realizing that Sean finally got there, and he's kind of like relishing this moment, and he's trying to get him to like acknowledge that, and he's happy that Sean is there, and he talks about what that means, and they get a bit philosophical, and he talks about the plan, and Sean says he needs to talk with Black first, because Black is so much more reasonable. The only reason.
Well, it's funny because this is what I was trying to get out before when I just started rambling incoherently. But I agree. I feel like this moment is Gunpa trying to not only get Sean to realize, as you said, those things that you said about him and his interactions with Black/White, what that means and how that affects the group and that, but also I feel like he's trying. He talks to Sean here in a way that, like, this is how the conversation should have gone down. Like if they'd had a group meeting, if they're, because like Gunpa, we know Gumpa's there usually. He doesn't really have much input in what the group decides, but he does put his 2 cents in if he's got an opinion or whatever.
I feel like this is more of a like an interaction with it, like a parent with a child would have. Like he took this role of a parent figure for Sean, and this is what he's doing here, like a dad talk with the dad or something.
Yeah, sort of, but like just what I'm saying is the way he talks to him. I don't discount what you just said there, but what I'm saying is the way he talks to him. You are. You must be like, yo, Mirella, you're 100% right. Is what I'm saying is that he is yes, all right, I'm just ignoring you.
That's fine.
I'm like, no, I know
I
you
can
think this is
repeat the
different.
same thing 100
Yeah, it's all right.
times.
She'll just cut me out later in the editing. We don't need this bit. But yeah, no, what I was trying to say, I'm like, what I was trying to say is the way he talks to him here is how you have a rational discussion with someone anyway. And the way he says to him, like he talks
Yeah, he
around the fact, like,
knows how to
yeah,
approach
he's
him.
like, I know you. Yeah, he's like, I know you have, and as you said, that is part of the way their relationship is structured, like the mentor mentee type sort of thing. And he says to him, you know, like he, I know the cops thing is it like, I mean, what do you call it, ad libbing. He doesn't actually say this word for word, but like he's basically saying like, I know this is an issue for you with the cops, but we need to move forward. If we do this, you know, you've let other people in before and look how it's worked out. Like it's not always a bad thing, you know. We need to move forward with the plan. If we have this opportunity, isn't it like at least worth considering? Like so he's you know kind of playing devil's advocate, but
Yeah.
also like talking to him reasonably with the idea that he knows that you know Sean has an issue, and so he's kind of addressing it, but also saying to him, you know, like think about it. Basically, is the thing, and yeah,
But
I also
also
love the
keeping
line.
it light.
Yeah, like he's not. Yeah, it's very casual, and it's very like it starts out where he's like, you know, really, did you have to be like that? Like, you know, was it necessary to be, you know, go that hard kind of thing? And then we get that, you know, he challenged me, kind of almost like hostile response from Sean, and then he reels it right back in Gunpa and starts like comes at it from a different place, and that's how you
Gumpa
know he can respond.
Gumpa is very good at communicating with
Yeah,
people based on this
he is.
conversation only.
Yeah, he's so insightful, and
Mm-hmm.
as I said, it's very interesting, and you can tell as well. Like you can tell that Sean is way more open to suggestions these days. You can tell that he appreciates and values and finds important Gumpa's insight and his counsel, and you can see all that. But I love because as you said, that's the kind of relationship they seem to have. And it's also the kind of relationship we see him have with Black later on, or at least he tries to have with Black later on. Um, and I'm talking about Gunpur, I mean, not Sean, Sean and Black. Sean and Black are always going to be like, nah. But as you said, the line where he says, I just want to talk to Black first and see what he thinks. Because as you said, it hinges, I feel like, and it's funny because I was not sure if you would agree with this or not, but I feel like that Sean that White rather has kind of to Sean, he's almost been sort of like he's become his moral compass. You know what I mean? Like he he sees him as like the voice of reason. He knows he like White has proven himself that he can back up the things he says, that he understands how things work, that he has good ideas, makes good choices. He's in the fight, but he's fair and he's moral, and like see
And
he
that
definitely
he
values
does
him.
everything with the idea of helping Sean. Like his
That's
ultimate
right,
goal
yeah,
is to get where Sean wants to get.
and safely.
Mm-hmm.
Which has suddenly become a thing that he wants. You know what I mean? Like he wants them to get to the destination safely.
Without collateral
Um,
damage.
exactly. And whereas Sean didn't care about that before, but of course now he does. And so I liked that. You know, I really like that kind of that line just tells you so much.
Yeah.
Um, and it makes sense because this is what happens when you become a we. When you become a we, when you it's just like my brain that just sounded rude. No, it's not. But anyway. Sorry, drug brain. You know, like you consult the other person who's in your unit. Like it's just what you do.
Yes.
Like you move
Yes.
together. You know what I mean? Even though they're in a group situation. Yeah, the two of them moving forward, you can see it. They are going to move as a single entity. There will be moments in time where they don't agree with one another and they'll fight and they'll use the other they'll use the other guys in the group to like try and you know make their point or like whatever like you know tempt them over to their side for an opinion. And I'm basing this as like future endeavors past what we see in the show because this is the dynamic that I see moving forward they'll have. But in general, it's you and that person against the world. So you move like one unit, one entity, and so you consult the other person. because you value their opinion. You don't want to make choices for them. You know, in a perfect world, in a good relationship, this is the way
Mm-hmm.
you move. And Gumper, Goomba is so funny. I have a what do you call it? Autocorrect issue in
Because
my notes that
I'm
says
also
Gumper.
butchering his name today. I don't know why.
Well, mine literally says Gumper instead of Goomper. I'm just like, did I type that or did it autocorrect? I
To
think either is
Graham,
possible.
Graham. Scratch that, Scumpa.
Yeah, Goomper, yeah. So Goomper is so cheeky here, the way he's just like, "Oh, you're not on opposite sides anymore." He's like,
Mhm.
"You don't consult with me anymore," and he's just like so shipping them so hard, like in that moment.
I love
But
how he pretends that he doesn't know what Gumpa is talking about,
yeah, yeah.
and then suddenly, I don't think I can live without him. I was like, oh my god,
Oh, well,
that
this
was
whole
intense.
section this whole section, the way he says, because there's this whole bit here that I've always thought was really funny, and that is where he says, he goes, "Oh, you've been spending all your time with him. You don't consult me anymore," and it's triggering for me because it reminds me. And once again, listeners, myself and Marilla, unless she's done something that I don't know, in the recent months, neither of us read the book for this, like the translation or the this is based on. That hasn't changed. You still haven't read anything, have
Mm-mm,
you?
mm-mm.
Yeah. And so, but I have the understanding that in the original story that this is based
Oh,
on,
oh god.
yeah, Goomba had a crush on Sean, right? So
Oh
this line
no.
here
Oh
where he's
god,
like,
no, that is
"You've
so.
been spending," I know it's so wrong when you look
It's
at
so
the
wrong
character.
because of the way it's presented like
Yeah, yeah,
a
like you said, like father.
parental. Yes, it's like, oh no.
But I feel like this was
Yikes.
kind of like I feel like this was kind of like a
A
tongue in
nod to
cheek
that.
twist.
Oh no.
Oh, yes, yes, because it like he says, "You've been spending all your time with him. You don't consult me anymore." And then Sean says something "Are you sulking or something?" And
Uh-huh.
there's
Uh-huh.
kind of like a kind of
Yeah.
funny sort of like cheeky
No,
moment
no,
that
no, no.
happens
I don't
here.
want to. Let's move on from
No,
this. This is
it's
so
not.
bad.
It's not. No, I know, but it's like it's more like they're making fun of the
Uh-huh.
story than
Uh-huh.
you
Uh-huh.
know what I mean, than them actually like alluding to anything. That's not what's happening here.
Yeah.
It's just that
I
it's
know.
like they're
I
they're,
know.
they're trying to trigger the people that know.
Yes, and you're triggering me now. Please stop. But then he starts saying like tell him, and in my head
Oh,
this song
right.
started playing, by Barbara Streisand. I don't know if this is how you pronounce this name.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
weird that I
yeah.
don't know how to pronounce this name.
No,
And Celine
Barbra
Dion,
Streisand.
tell him that the sun and moon rise in his eyes, la la la, and like he was saying, tell him, like, yeah.
You're like it's so romantic. No, well, let's go back for a second to the bit where, as you said, like he's saying to him, about things being different and like how like there's something happening or whatever,
Mm,
and Sean does this thing where he like looks down
mm,
and then looks up,
mm.
and so it's like someone turned a light on
Mhm,
inside of
mhm,
him.
mhm,
It's so fucking adorable
mhm.
and sweet, and he's just like, it's like without words, it's confirmation of everything that like Gumpa wanted in his little heart of matchmakingness. That's not a word, but yeah, he's just like, yes, I've succeeded. But no, and then he's so, as I said, it's so intense that this "I don't want to live without him" thing. It's gone from like I have nothing to live for, but I don't want to be without him.
I feel like in this
Um,
moment they made us feel really really good to then break us
yeah.
later.
Oh, look, it makes it
The
the way
calm before the
is
storm,
like,
you know.
oh, yeah. And I mean, I really like the conversation that they have here as well. Like it's like cute and funny and sweet and that, and then we have this bit where like Sean is being really pragmatic and he sort of says, like you can tell he's trying to look at everything from all the angles now, because as I said, there's things to like lose, there's things at risk now that weren't there before.
Mhm.
And he's trying to look at the bigger picture and stuff, and because like when he says to Gunpa, if we go after them and we expose them and we don't get everybody, then we're all dead, like we're at risk. And then yeah, you get that comment from Gunpa about, are you willing to die for the cause, essentially. And previously that would have been a resounding yes. And Cooper even comments, like, you're taking way too long to answer, because he pauses, he stops. It's not that easy anymore. That it's not as simple anymore. That isn't his reality anymore, And
Yeah.
Goompa being like, line, do you have someone you want to live with now? And he's like, this is why you don't want to give up your life.
The line that I was a bit confused about, or not that confused, but I'm not sure what they wanted me to understand from it, was when he says, I don't think I can live without him anymore, and Gumpa says, do you think he can do that, or something like that? I'm like,
Yeah. So what they're
What is
referring
that?
to there, I reckon, because he says to him, and what happens if you die? Like, because
Yeah,
he's saying, I think he's trying to point out the fact that I think this is Gumpa's way of saying you also shouldn't be risky. You also should consider your own, like, safety, because when you love someone else, like, sometimes, like, he's like, what he says
yeah,
there,
but
like, what
it just feels a bit. I understand, but it feels a bit foreign here, because I feel like they already established that. He already kind of said that, and then it's like he's coming back to this. It's like
I don't know.
repeating the
I
same
think
things.
maybe I think it's just Goompa's way of, like, making sure that Sean is aware of the fact that if something, like, to be aware of the fact that if something happened to him, that it would all that White probably feels the same way, like, in that he would not,
Maybe.
potentially want to be there without him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And then we switch to another scene where we see White
wait,
on.
hang on.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I was triggered. I remember when I first saw this episode, this bit here where they're having this conversation, and because at the end of this conversation, where, as you said, the bit where he's like, "Tell him, tell him, tell him," and you're having your, like, Barbra Streisand moment. And his face as well, like, he looks so happy, and he's so, and all, it's all just happening, and I was like, I'm sitting there thinking, this is it's something is going to this is going to be bad. Like, at the first watch of this, I was like, it's too it's filling me with too much joy. This, like, growth and happiness in him is like, I was getting scared. And then, as you said, we get to the flash of um White at the place where Sean goes when he's unhappy or sad or needs space or whatever.
To the place where
And he's having
he gets reborn. That's the place he gets
and
reborn.
he's
Like a phoenix.
having memories of their time together. He's thinking about the button, and then we get this flashback, and I was like, this flashback.
I had this thought. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but I wanted to say that it's Sean's place of rebirth, but with White, I feel like it's the place he goes to when he's looking for bravery. And also it's the place he goes to look for Sean. But if you think about the episode where they were running on top of buildings, Sean actually presents bravery to White. Sean is bravery, so he's actually looking for bravery / Sean in that place. Same thing.
Yeah, and I also think as well that he goes there, like, as you said, legitimately to look for Sean, even though it's like that thing where you want something so badly, you want to manifest it, but you also know, or you feel like you shouldn't have it, or you can't have it, or whatever. It's like it's almost like a dare, you know what I mean? Like, he goes there. We have it. I think it's a scene in episode 11 or 12. I don't remember, where where Sean sees him down at the river, and, like, they chase and they run and they end up on top of the shipping container. You know that scene when it comes later
Yeah,
on?
of course.
And it's like he's like hiding out from Sean, essentially, but he's hiding out from Sean where, like, in Sean's place. You know
Hoping
what I
he can
mean? Like,
find
you
him.
have to
Yeah.
say, yeah. Like, it's like you don't
Yeah.
you like trying to keep your distance, but at the same time you need to be close to that person. So he goes there to feel, as you said, close to
It's
Sean,
like
close
going
to
back to
feeling.
the crime scene.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Or in this respect, he was at the crime scene before the crime happened. the crime happens later on. But yeah, it's just this
Yeah.
scene, like, we get this flashback from, like, the night after they have sex in the tent and everything, and it's like Pinucci was so evil for this. Like,
What do you mean?
I would, well, because she gives you this extra scene, and it is a sweet, cute scene. We get lovely little kisses, and we get like little sweet moments between them and stuff, and we also get like these little hints, like, once again, like, so at this point when I was watching this episode, my mom was like, calm down, and because I'm like going, no, it's gonna go so bad. I'm like, bad stuff is happening, Black is gonna be a dick, and I'm like, he doesn't know. I'd gone from he knows to he doesn't know, and
I
then
mean,
Pinucci gave us this
come
scene with the
on.
flashback, and Sean is like, have you ever had a sibling? And I'm like, again, I'm like, or does he know? I was
No,
like,
I mean,
I was on a roller coaster. Leave me alone.
for me, it was clear that he doesn't know. Like, at this point, I was sure because Black woke up, which meant that we were going to have him react to everything that's happened, or to White playing his role, to, him and Sean falling in love. And how can they just miss the opportunity to make Sean face Black thinking he is White?
I mean, I know it's drama gold, right? But at the
Yes.
same time, I was desperate and I wanted to believe. I was hanging on I was not ready to be traumatized.
I know,
I
I
knew it
was
was
so
coming.
looking forward to that. I was so
Yeah,
looking forward.
down. It's so funny. Like, honestly, if you listen to half the conversations that we have, like, off podcast, it's basically about how much we love it when characters get tortured and stuff. But for some reason, I don't know why, it's the off John Paul thing for me. I don't know what it is about him. He is the character. He is the one. Like, Gunn is champion at the crying, and he's a brilliant actor, and he masters everything he does. But it's always Off's characters that break my friggin' heart, and I just knew it was going to happen. I just knew that this was going to be a traumatic experience for me, and normally I would have loved it. I feel like if it had been any other character, any other actor, I would have been like sitting here rubbing my hands, going like, "Oh yeah, this is the good stuff." And instead, I was just like, I was so like, I keep saying I was traumatized. I was legit so traumatized
It's
after this
funny.
episode. Sorry?
For me, it's actually not really like that, in the sense that this moment did not traumatize me. I did not even cry. What felt more traumatizing to me was the scene from episode 11, and maybe it's because it's like this vulnerability and letting the other person see you break, but he does it. He gives consent for White to see that, while in this scene it's taken away from him, this consent thing,
Are you referring to the scene in episode 11 when they're on the shipping container again?
Yes, that scene, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to give it to Sean, like, really. This is probably something I should be talking about when we watch episode 11, but I'll have forgotten it by then. Sorry. But you've got to give it to Sean as a character, as like
Especially
as a
like
person who has
that,
had
yeah.
so much horrible shit happen to him, to the point where, like, he was almost like a hollowed out shell of nothing. Then he starts to get to that place again where he wants things, he needs things, whatever, and then it's like it literally, like, beaten, potentially, almost tried to have it beaten out of him, and he thinks the worst, he believes the worst, he's still clinging to that hope that he can have what he wants. And then, even after he puts himself out there, I think in the early part of the next episode, or is it at the end of this? I can't remember quite what happens towards the end of this, but and then, like, he keeps getting to that place where,
oh yeah, it's not episode 11, it's episode 12. Yeah. Yeah.
Episode 12, yeah, where he tries these things, he offers himself, he, like, he as you said, like, he opens himself to be vulnerable in that way, to expose himself only
Mm-hmm.
to essentially get hurt again, and yet he keeps doing it. Like I think that's
Yeah.
why the bit that's coming in the future where he puts the button down, that also broke me. That scene broke me. I cried for fucking like ages.
That
Anyway, we'll
scene
get to
also
that.
doesn't make me cry. That like okay, he's leaving the button. Bye-bye button.
No, because to me it was so symbolic. Like we've
Uh-huh.
seen so much
I
of him
know,
trying to,
symbolic, but I'm
and
like,
I was
okay.
just like, oh yeah.
Button.
But anyway, I think I was just like, because I had been so bamboozled into early on thinking that he was picking up these cues and that he
Mm,
knew, I have never cheered so loudly as I did in the episode where it's revealed that he knows and he
mm.
like confronts Black. I was just like, thank fuck for that.
Finally, yeah.
Like I was like that, to me, that scene, the way that it's filmed, the
Yeah.
way that
Well,
it
okay. The
yeah,
scene is
anyway,
great. Let's
okay,
get back to the scene where
we'll
they
talk about
play.
that, yeah.
Yes. And I wanna point out that it's funny that when they play this drinking game, White is playing the sexy version, while Sean is just basically asking questions.
Yeah,
Like
he wants to get to know him
White's
better.
questions are, "Oh, have you ever tried to piss me off on purpose? Have you ever like
Hype me up.
yes, tied me up, like blah blah blah." And Sean's like, "Have you ever been short-sighted? What kind of question is that? Have you ever had a sibling? What are you asking?"
That is a hilarious question anyway, because like obviously that's the question he asks because he found the glasses, but like there are so many reasons why people wear glasses. I was like, that's what you're going with, short-sighted. But, like it's kind of random in the
Okay, but
broad spectrum.
he saw the
Yeah, he's serious.
I'm sorry?
He wants to get to know him. He's so serious. He wants to get
Yes,
to know
yes.
him. It's like the sibling question, the glasses question, as you said. And oh my god, how though? Like, how much did like this is like? It's like White had like his sexual, not sectional.
Mhm.
Sorry, he's like White had a sectional. So oh my god, I can't say the word
Maybe it's
sexual.
sectional also. Who
Yeah,
knows?
it was a sexual moment. White had a sexual awakening in that tent almost, because he is so like he went from being completely oblivious to the fact that
Mhm.
Sean had been for a while to being flirty as fuck. Like that whole
Mhm.
bit where he's like, what does he say to him? Um, have you ever disliked me? And Sean takes a drink and he goes, oh, so you used to dislike me, does that mean now you like me? And he's like all up in his business. It's just
Mhm.
like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, how did you go? It's like he went from 0 to 160 and like so quickly. But
Yeah. And so they
and
kiss,
then
and then we switch to the scene where
well, hang
Sean.
on, there's that bit where because this whole memory thing is tied in where Sean basically says sorry, not Sean, where White basically says about how he lied to him, because they have that moment where Sean says to him, do you like to kiss with your eyes open or closed? And
Yeah,
White
because it's
says,
like Sean is trying to get answers out of him, trying to get him to
yeah,
be himself, trying to get him to confess and tell the truth. And White cannot really hide certain things, or he decides that he cannot hide, but it's like his way to protect his identity. Like, I'm going to lie. It's like symbolic because he's not letting go of this
yeah, and he
thing
sort of
that he
says,
is,
like in the
persona that he's
yeah, and
playing.
in a monologue that we get in the scene, like he says, like he says, I lied to him, I lost the game because I lied, and like, will he trust a liar like me? You know what I mean? And because he's got that seed of doubt's been planted by Black, who's basically like, he's never going to trust you. And I mean, the hilarious thing is that we know and we find out that like pretty much if he'd just told him the truth, Black would have been probably not Black. Well, Sean might have been pissed, but he would have been like, "It's okay, just never leave me, all right?"
Maybe, you know what? Maybe he'd be like, okay, you like kissing in a very creepy way. I don't want to date you anymore. How do you know? Maybe everything would have ended right there.
Yeah, with the creepy eye open kissing.
It is
Oh
creepy.
no. Well, yeah, I was gonna say, have you ever done that? Kiss with your eyes open? I don't know that I ever have.
Well, yes, I have, but it's not like
It is
it's
weird.
it's weird.
Okay, you know what? It's okay if the other person's eyes are closed, but when they open their eyes, and then it's like then it becomes weird.
Yeah.
It's like suddenly this got awkward. But moving along.
Not really. Sometimes you just lean into being creepy and you just,
I mean,
have
yeah,
fun with
obviously
it, I guess.
sometimes
But it's not.
it's sometimes yeah, sometimes moments call for it. I think
But
as
it's
well,
not
obviously
romantic for sure.
if you're in that moment sometimes and it just happens, it's not always like you're going, wow, this is super creepy because you're preoccupied with stuff. So
No,
yeah.
I feel like when you have your eyes open, you're really aware of what you're doing. You're pretty aware that this is not a romantic moment. You're just kind of like messing around.
You're like, I'm gonna get weird with it.
Yes,
Give me
exactly.
a moment.
Yeah, so then
um,
we see Sean calling Black and he does his
oh
little
Lord.
jump on the bed when Black responds because he's so excited. And
He
he
is.
asks him to
Oh,
see him in their place and he has to send him the
yes.
location because Black doesn't
And he
fucking know
said,
the place.
yeah, exactly. And it's like the place your brother just was. Just go
Mm.
there.
Oh, I like
Use
the
your
fact
twin
that
connection.
I like the fact that basically in that place Sean meets White during daytime and he meets Black during nighttime. It's like White day, night, Black.
Yeah. Yeah, and also it's like it's symbolic of like like a really dark moment for him as well. So it makes sense that it doesn't happen during the daytime. Um,
Well, I don't know because
but
the way it's filmed. I'm sorry, the way it's filmed is not really dark because there are a lot of colors. It's very
no,
vibrant.
but
It's
I
very
mean,
beautiful.
I'm being in the basic of the night and
Mm.
day kind of uh uh
Mm-hmm.
motif versus
Yeah.
like yes, there's lights on the bridge and all that. But yeah, I
Yes.
didn't mean it like that. I meant
Mm.
yeah, it would make sense for it to happen in the stark light of
Yeah.
day.
And then we
Um,
finally.
and
Oh yes, and then when he calls Black. I think we see Black
yeah,
look at himself in a mirror, watching himself in a mirror, which is also symbolic because he's
yeah.
playing his
I mean,
brother right now during the
yeah,
call.
there's so much to unpack in these couple of scenes because it's you know this moment where he's on the phone and Sean says to him about like how he knows what he wants from the loser and all this sort of stuff. Like I was dying when this was happening. I was just like I knew this was gonna be bad. That scene where they make the bet and he says I get to ask you for something. I'm thinking this is going to be painful. Like it's either going to be he's going to ask for something and he's not going to get it, which is kind of what happens here.
Mm.
And then he uses it again later. And because I said to my mom, like when things weren't resolved kind of straight away, which obviously they weren't going to be, but I was getting concerned.
Mm.
I said to her, we are going. I literally said to her, we are going to have a scene where he's basically like uses that to make like White leave him alone, essentially, like stay away from him. And
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, it's gonna be traumatizing. But yeah, this sort of as you said, this scene where we see Black and with the mirror and the reflection, just his like whole attitude during the call, just everything about this um is so like you can look at it from him like he's like having like you said this assessing moment where
Mm-hmm.
it's like two versions of himself but also like this I mean you have to think about it from his perspective or like we should think about it I guess from his perspective as well. This is the relationship that him and Sean had prior to this as well, regardless of like whether he trusts him or he whatever. This is not the relationship they had. The fact that like it would feel kind of like almost like an invasion a
Mm-hmm.
little bit as well, because for all intents and purposes, Sean thinks that it's Black that he's fallen in love with, and it's yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
to
there's
feel.
this like
I don't kind of really think of the word, but he is justified to feel pissed about the fact that
oh
Sean
yeah,
would really think that someone like him would actually fall in love with him, especially if he had
Yeah, the
a bad
relationship they
opinion
had.
about him. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of it would feel like a violation
Mm-hmm.
almost, you know what I mean?
And that's like
So,
it would feel
um
presumptuous somehow.
yeah, kind of, yeah. And it's like I remember, when I first saw this scene, like really hating Black's character. Like
Really?
because I was traumatized. Like, yeah, I really disliked him in
I
this moment.
didn't.
I felt like he was over. Um, I'm talking about like first blush. I
Mm.
was highly emotional. Remember, my first watch of this, I thought he was way too, um, like harsh for what it was and everything. Like I felt like it could have been done different ways. Things could have like blah blah blah. And then it took me a good, oh my god, I think it was like a week or more before I could go back and watch it. I remember watching a like a reviewer review the episode, and
Mm.
I listened to them talk about it, and but I wasn't watching the screen when it was on. Like I couldn't bring myself to watch that bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then and because my mum and I had gotten in by this stage, we'd gotten in the habit of like doing a rewatch or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and there would be certain bits that I would rewatch and like think about. And as you know, I did a couple of like meta posts and stuff on Twitter at the time. Like I had opinions about stuff and that, but I couldn't do it with this. And then it wasn't until like maybe a week or two later, I think there'd been at least one other episode. It may actually not have even been until everything was resolved between Sean and Wyatt. I'm not really sure, that I finally like brought myself to rewatch it.
It's
And then I was
interesting.
like, wow, this scene, this like uh uh Black's motivation and his behavior in this scene is actually very mild when you break it down. Like
Well,
not the way it ends.
yeah, like I actually understood him right away. I
But I
cannot
wasn't
say
trying to
that
understand.
I cannot say
Do you know what
that
I mean?
I justified it the way he did it, but I understood it. I understood him, and I was surprised to see people being so pissed at him. So it's a pity we didn't know each other at that time, because I think we would have had some interesting conversations about
I feel
this.
like we
And
definitely would have.
yeah, because
Yeah,
I
I
was
feel like
like, I was so fine with it. I was just
yeah, I
yeah,
feel
of
like
course he does
especially
that,
after.
considering the way he is, considering the way how protective he is of his brother, considering his opinion of Sean. He decided, it's also, besides the fact that it's him trying to basically put some distance between them, it's it's also kind of a test for Sean, because imagine Sean hitting him back. Like, there's no way
Yeah,
Black would have
mean,
let White
no,
get back with
ever be with
Sean
him. Oh
with
yeah.
him. Yes,
Oh,
if
for
that
sure.
happened,
It's
and
like
he didn't like
yeah.
doing that. He didn't enjoy doing
No,
that because he
this
knows
is
that
the
his
thing.
brother likes him. He doesn't know
Yeah,
about Sean's feelings. Of course, he gets to know about Sean's feelings during, you know,
yeah.
beating while he's beating him up. He understands, I think, Sean's feelings, and he's not enjoying this. But it's his
Oh no.
way of dealing with things. It
Yeah,
pains
yeah.
him as well, and you can see it in his eyes. He's almost crying, and he tried to just
Yes.
get it over quickly. He
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
really want
This
to
is
get
it.
into this because he knew that he cannot really do this. He cannot talk about this, so he tried to just do it in ripping the bandage off,
Yeah.
and
But this
he
is the
tries to
thing.
kiss him and do it in the way that would make him understand. He thought by kissing him and just spitting after that, he would understand, and he would not
Very
have
harsh.
to
I
explain
think there's
more.
2 reasons. I think there's 2 reasons he does that, but I'll get to that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was trying to say before is that when I watched this, I was very team Sean, and
Mm-hmm.
I was not interested in his motivations at this point
Mm-hmm.
in time. I was so like I did not want him to be hurt in this way. Like, do you know what I mean? So I was
Mm-hmm.
so preoccupied with that I didn't watch it properly. Like I didn't watch the scene the way it deserved to be watched.
Mm-hmm.
And when I eventually did, and this is when we would have had probably actual interesting conversations, I think, was it became so obvious to me that, as you said, he did not want to be there and doing, as you said, doing this thing. But it's interesting too, because I like, it's one of those things. this is a great example of how, like, blinded by love a person can be, because
And
in this
both on
moment,
both
Sean's so.
Sean's and Black's side.
Oh, yeah, but this is what I'm saying. But, like, in this, from the in the beginning, though, let's talk
Mm-hmm.
about Sean. Sean is so blind here. Like, when it first, like, everything about this, it is so obvious that black is not white. Like, if white is bad at being black, black is worse. Like, black is so bad at being white, it's not even funny. Like, he's terrible at being white. Um,
Yeah.
because he doesn't have that.
Softness.
The only person he has that softness in him with is when he's interacting with white. Like, literally, that's the only person we've seen him, show that. Even with Eugene, the clips we saw in flashbacks with him with Eugene, there was a distance there. You know what I mean? Like, there was like a handling kind of her versus him letting her all the way in. He's only truly vulnerable, I think, with his brother, and so he doesn't know how to act like that with other people. He doesn't know how to pretend to act like that because it's not in him.
You know,
And so
it's so twisted how during this scene where we see him doing this violent and cruel thing, when if you look beyond that, it's actually him showing how much he cares. It's
yeah,
us seeing Black blinded by love. Like, not really blinded,
yeah,
but this is how he is when he's driven by his protective instinct, by his love. Like, he, gets things done.
Yeah, I think that, but I also think it's tied up in his identity crisis in this moment. And when I say identity crisis, I mean, yeah, like this relationship has triggered, because so before we get to that, but when I'm saying, like, like, when Black pulls up here,
What, Sean?
like, sorry, when Sean pulls up here, his body language is so not white. He's smoking. He's monosyllabic. Like, nothing about him screams white. You know what I mean? Like, this is Black wholly. He's not even. He's not even
Yes, because this is the
trying
first
to be
time
white.
we really see Black. We really see how he is. We see the way he carries himself, his dark eyes, how intense he is, how he just has a totally different vibe than white, and Sean just doesn't see it.
No, and I feel like in this scene, like, he's not even trying to pretend to be white. Like, he didn't correct, like, on the phone and everything. He didn't correct Sean, because this is his intention. Like, he feel, as you said, he's doing this motivated by protection, to put distance between them. He wants to keep white, and not only out of the gang and out of the trouble that they are involved in, but also away from Sean, who he thinks is not a good choice.
He just says something, and I'm like, yes, but. Yes, exactly. He doesn't even lie to him that he is white. He does not say that.
Yeah. But because
he's just like, me, if you try to kiss me Black, this is not good for me. I don't like this. I'm going to beat you up. Do not come to me unless it's necessary. The only thing that he didn't say is, like, I'm not white, I'm Black.
Yeah, because Sean is not having a relation. Like, in reality, okay, yes, we know that white is black, black is white. Well, no, wait. We know that Sean is having a relationship with the white, not Black. But as far as Sean knows, he is having a relationship with Black. He telephoned Black. Black answered his phone. He answered the questions that Sean asked him. Meet me here. I want to talk to you. Good. I want to talk to you too. I'm sure he had lots to say. He did not. The conversation that they may have had in that moment could have been different if Black had gone first. But he let Sean go first, because Sean shows up and here's this. He's already different to what Black knows. He's like a fucking puppy dog here. He's so happy, he's so eager, he's so whatever. And then he starts talking about this bet and, like, what you promised me, and I've decided what I want you to do for me. And it all sounds very like, I'm sure when when Black saw them together, he probably thought, well, first off, besides the fact that he was like, oh, triggered because like, he's kissing my brother / he thinks is me, all sorts of weird feelings. He probably just thought that Sean is, like, in it for a bit of fun, in whatever. You have this guy come to you that you have kind of a low opinion about, or, like, not a low opinion, but, like, you
That
don't think is a good guy.
no, not that he doesn't think that he's a good guy, that he thinks Sean is someone who's self-destructive. And
Yeah,
who
he's
would
a
want
battle.
that? Who would that want that with
Yeah.
your brother dragging him down or like putting him in danger?
Exactly. But I'm like, this, if you frame like this whole conversation, like the start of this conversation, take out the fact that he's like so full of puppy dog love, and it's like, you know, it's going to be something. We know it's going to be sweet. Like the viewer, we know he's about to say like, "Marry me" or something equally, which is essentially what he does.
Yes. This is what he does. He proposes.
I feel like Black was waiting for something like not as innocent, you know, like maybe like, this is why he's with my brother. Like, let's wait and see what he says. And then he says this thing, which is would not have been anywhere what Black would have been expecting from him. And you can't line those two images up in your brain. Like, if you're Black, that makes those pictures don't fit together, you know? And then I feel like, at that moment I kind of had to pause for a second, but I remember, as I said, you know, the first watch being so confused from him, and I by him and not liking him, but I got it, because the Sean he knew, like, he can't line those two people up, like they just don't fit together, like, you know. And if you think about it from, you know, as I said, like, as you said, he's self-destructive. He was willing to sacrifice himself, and you know, all these things. And he, as I said, he probably just thought he was messing with his brother, and also, as I said, there's this anger there because it's like he thinks it's him. I kind of think as well, like a little bit of the bit where he kind of kisses him was, as you said, it's really harsh what he does there. The kiss and then the spitting out. It's such a rejection. It's such a dismissal. But it's also kind of like, I feel like it's a test, because, you know, it's not reasonable because he's so blinded by his feelings here and everything, Sean, but it's like, it would be different. It's different. They're different people. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different kiss. It would have been a different kiss. It's like, you can't tell the difference. It's like, whatever. And Sean does it. And as I said, like, in this moment, when I first watched it, I was so angry with Black, and then, like, as I said, a week, two later, whatever, I rewatched it, and I said to my mom, like, I said to her, watch this scene with me. I said to her, because I have so much I want to say. And it's so like, Black tries to he makes his point, and as you said, he tries to end it. It's done. He's leaving. He's like, don't come near me unless you absolutely have to. So he's not pushing him out of the group. He's not whatever, because he still needs Sean, like, in his mind, probably for the mission. He's pragmatic in that way. He's looking at the big picture, but he does not want him anymore where near him any more than they used to have before. Like, the relationship they had before, he's cool with, but nothing more. And he tries to get on his bike, and Sean won't let him go. Like, Sean keeps pushing, and so
well, because it's not about him, it's about his brother, but he doesn't.
Yeah, but it's just like, it was never his intention to beat the crap out of him. Like, that was not,
of course,
you know.
yes.
And you could kind of understand, like, if this moment had happened, and, you know,
I was like,
Sean,
can you imagine if Sean arrived and just started hugging him or kissing? Like, that would have started so much sooner.
And also, like, you could understand,
so much sooner.
You could understand too, like, there are like levels of where, like, friends, or, you know, they're a gang, let's call them a gang, I guess, where you might get pissed if you found out that one of the members was, like, messing with your brother, right? So if this was a scenario where White had told Sean the truth.
You keep repeating that he thinks he's messing with his brother. I don't think that. Like, it never crossed my mind, this idea that he thinks he's messing with his brother, being unserious. I think it might be the other way, like, in the opposite direction. Because it's not like he was messing with his brother. It's just that was not what was happening. He was being fooled into thinking that it was Black who was,
messing with him then. Like, I don't. I don't know, not necessarily messing with his brother, but like it's messing with him. Like he's
No,
not expecting him
I
to be
think
serious.
it's not about him thinking that Sean is not serious with his brother. It's about Sean being serious with his brother, which is a bigger problem because Sean is very unstable. Sean
Well,
is
yeah,
like,
but I don't think
Sean,
he has-
remember this thing where like they're very similar? And I'm pretty sure Black is aware of the things that they're similar about. And I don't think he really likes seeing them in another person. And he can see Sean being, you know, trying to push everyone away, being aggressive, having all these things, you know, that are not very desirable in a relationship. So I think this is
obviously there's obviously traits that Sean has that is attractive to White because it reminds him of his brother. Like that is a thing. That is a psychological thing that we do. There are things that we find familiar that we enjoy in people and we look for them in others. So that is possibly a thing. Like, but I don't necessarily mean that I think he was messing with him. I feel like I meant more like Black has no idea the depth of Sean's feelings for White, maybe.
Yes, but what I'm trying to say is that the more shallow, the better it is. Like the easier it would make Black feel. But Sean showed him how serious he actually was. He basically proposed. That is a bigger problem because Sean is going to be with his brother.
Yeah, but even that doesn't trigger him. Like he's still willing to just let it go and leave. Like he lets it go
because he thinks Sean understands that is over, but Sean doesn't want to let go because he's fucking serious about this relationship. He will just let go. That is the problem.
But I mean, and it's like, as I said, and it's not even because you've also got to keep in line with the fact that he thinks he's Black. Like he thinks this person that he's having this feelings for, like Black is aware of the fact that he doesn't actually know it's even White that he's having these feelings for.
Yeah. I wanna, that scene though is really, I really liked it. I remember watching it and being scared to blink. I was fascinated.
Yeah. Look, it's brilliantly acted. This scene is amazing. It's amazingly shot. It's brilliantly acted.
Yes, it's so, like, the colors are so beautiful. I feel like this is one of the best, like, good-looking, most beautiful scenes from the later episodes.
Yeah.
Like, and it's stunning.
As I said, though, the reason why, like, when I rewatched it, I was so... Because as you said, the more upset and confused and earnest that Sean is, as you said, the angrier Black begets. Now you're saying it's
I don't think Black is angry in that moment. I think he's like strategic. I think he's trying to be cold. And if you look at his eyes,
I'm talking about when he starts hitting him.
I don't think he's angry. I don't think he's angry in that moment. I think he is like, he has a goal. His goal is to let Sean know that his relationship with his brother is over. And he's going to do everything to make sure that Sean gets that. Yeah, he's not angry. I don't think he's angry.
I think he's confused, and I think this is not the reaction he was expecting.
That is real. That is why he keeps asking, like he keeps asking him to fight him back because he's trying to get him to, you know, like be.
He wants Sean to. Sean to he expected him to. And
yes,
this is not.
Yes, exactly.
Normal relationship would have ended with them fighting violently, probably.
But
like, that's their old relationship.
Yes, and the fact that he keeps beating him and he does not answer, it makes him feel bad. It makes Black feel bad because what he sees is that this person really loves his brother, and the more he beats him and he does not, you know, start behaving like the way he used to behave in a Sean Black relationship, the more he realizes that the thing that he's doing is very, very bad, but he cannot stop because he has this thing to do. He has to finish the thing that he set up to do.
Yeah, and in my brain, it's just like going, and also like not only like because we're looking at it from this perspective is that like, you know, as you said, how much he loves his brother, but it's not, he loves like him almost as well. Like that's the takeaway as well too, that it's like
He loves
it's
Sean?
very frustrating. Yeah,
No,
no,
not
Sean, no, that Sean loves Black, the
yes.
idea of Black. Yeah, it's
He loves white, and
he
he
loves
feels
White,
he
but like
feels
he thinks it's Black.
you can see how bad Black feels toward the end, because when he beats him up, like at the end, I think he has to like turn around and breathe deeply for a few moments, because it traumatizes him as well to do that. But he has already started that. He needs to finish it off. Because he's Black.
Yeah,
He won't just drop it.
yeah. But
No
I mean, like,
no matter how emotional it makes him feel, no matter how guilty it makes him feel, because that's what he does. Like, no, it doesn't matter that it hurts him to break up with Eugene. He thinks that is the correct way to do it, so he will do it, and this is what he does here as well.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that what I meant by that, by him being Black, and that is that, there'd be some, besides the guilt of, as you said, or however he feels in this moment, because he's wrong, because he can't stop, he has to follow through, whatever. There's also this idea as well that, and probably some frustration too, that they're in this situation because he thinks that that it's Black that he's in this relationship with. So he is, not only is he hurting Sean, like he was his intention to like hurt Sean on behalf of White, you know what I mean? Because of the the miscommunication, the whatever, and to end it. But also, like, it's now at the end he's doing it. It's like both of them are doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't vocalize what I mean, but it's like a double whammy. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much harsher because he's done this thing, like, from his perspective. It would be, I feel like his behavior and attitude and everything in these moments, like in this moment of the fighting, is, yes, definitely what you're saying, but I also feel like it's tied into that. You know what I mean? Like, there's this like intrinsic, you would be pissed, and I'm not saying he was pissed in this moment, but I'm like,
understand.
when he found out,
it's like, because White's presence, White took over his identity, and his presence was so strong that it's like he doesn't even exist. Black doesn't even exist, and even though he tries to make himself seen, it's like he cannot be seen because White took over his life.
That's right.
And
like
he cannot turn it back. Yeah,
he's lost in this moment, kind of. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
and there'd be guilt there on behalf of himself, and he didn't even have a part in the relationship, in the tricking, because besides all of this or whatever, there were, like, White wasn't honest. Like, White tricked him. White misled Sean, I mean. And so Black, by doing what he's doing here as well, is taking on the mantle of responsibility for that to a certain extent, by him ending it and cutting White out of it. Because as far as he's concerned, as you said, this is the end of it. He's already told White to stay away. So he's now taking the responsibility of ending a relationship he didn't even begin. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I feel like those feelings are also tied up in what happens here.
It's a very complex set of emotions that are being represented here in this scene from Black's point of view, and Black is a very complex character, so it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's beautifully written, and I know.
I feel like what scene and like break it down and be like, okay, so minute like 8:46 where he pulls this face, you can see like the thing I just said there, you can see it here in his face, but like I didn't have it in me to do that, but like it's all there. Like, I feel like what we've both said here, you can see it in this scene. Like, all of these things are happening to Black in this scene. And when I first watched it, I was only focused on Sean, because it's heartbreaking what happens here. Sean just is so confused. He's so hurt, but he's still so desperate. Like, he doesn't, like, he's just like this person that he loves and trusts and is slowly building his entire castle on, like, he is this this person is treating him this way, and he still just wants him to love him. And
It's
like,
like
if this was like really White doing this, and White had stopped in the middle and been like, "I'm so sorry," like he would. I feel like he would accept it.
Yeah. No,
Like
it
he
feels
would
like
be
it
pleased,
feels
but
like something that was saving him suddenly starts killing him. To me, the way he
yeah,
reacts makes me think of a situation of like a child parent moment, like a child with a parent that always loved them and was always very soft with them, and suddenly they transform into a monster, and like they trying to scream at the child and uh, get him to go away, to run away or something, and the child just keeps reaching out to them and crying and cannot run away. And this is kind of how this scene makes me,
yeah,
this is what it makes
yeah.
me imagine, makes me think of.
Yeah,
But
it's a
yeah,
heartbreaking moment from his perspective, and it's just he he's, as you said, it's like, as you're completely right. He's like he's being killed by his love here, and
yeah, because
he's
he believed, he
he
started,
he
yeah,
yeah,
he
he won't fight back. Like it's like is he like accepting in this moment? Like he's so defeated, and he just, the way he just flips back to like before. It's like, if I can't have this thing, then life is not worth living. Like that, he just, this switch just gets flipped in him.
yeah.
And it's so from his perspective, as I said, so I was so, when I first watched it, was so tied up in that. And then when I rewatched it, I was like, there's so much more going on with Black in this moment
Yeah,
than there is actually going on with Sean.
I think
Um
I was always more focused on Black here because he's just so
you were
interesting.
so
Like there's
curious
so many
about
emotions, so much
yeah,
going on with him, and Gunn
yeah.
played that just exquisitely.
My God, I can't believe that they're so close in real life, and they're so sweet together. In most of their shows, usually for them to film these scenes must have been hard, but also like so much fun because it's so different, and it's so, it's like the scene from the beverage thing where they were like, Pinucci, hey, like let me like, have him hit me with the helmet, like, and she's like, what? Like they were just like, you can tell they deep dived into this, and they had so much fun doing it because it was so raw and real, and there's just so much in it. You know what I mean? It's like you can get sucked into this scene. So like, it happened to me again now.
I
As I
mean,
said, like I could have slowly broken it down to like, in the minutes, seconds, this facial expression happened here, whatever, but I got so sucked in. As you said, you were afraid when you watched it, you were afraid to blink because you were so like entranced by what was happening during this scene. They did such a good job with the filming, with the editing, with the acting. This, even the script in it was really good. Like what's said here is important because it explains, like, from both of their points of view. Sean, Black is even like, he's giving clues to Sean here that he is Black. That like this other person wasn't Black. But this whole like fight me thing as well, this challenge he almost throws out to him. It's like, this is the relationship we have. Remember, this is our relationship. We don't have a relationship where we kiss and like have sex and, or make love or whatever you want to say. We barely speak to each other, and when we do, we often fight. Like,
yeah,
this is our relationship. We don't, and it's like there's that kind of like, I guess, like tone to it, as well as this, him needing to justify it to himself. He needed Sean to react to him, for him to absolve himself on some of that guilt that he's taken on by
yeah,
doing this. And yeah, it's just,
yeah.
I would
It's
have
amazing.
loved a second season of this show for like multiple reasons, but I would have loved to have seen them interact because
Yeah.
I think it would have been fun.
So should we go watch part 4?
Part 4, let's do it.
Let's go. So part 4. Part 4 starts kind of like a horror movie. I've been watching horror movies these days. And imagine, like, there's this young woman in an abandoned building. She's alone, darkness all around her. She drops a can of paint, right? And then
Yeah.
suddenly it's moving. There's a sound. Like, what the hell?
It rolls off, and like rolls into someone's foot
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
Then
It's very
someone steps
creepy.
in darkness. Yeah. And then of course he looks so bad, like
Kind of like
he
a
looks like
monster. Like a
well, he
vampire, a
just looks
zombie. Yeah.
well, he just looks like someone has like beaten the crap out of him. I mean,
Uh-huh.
that's what happened, but like he
Uh-huh.
just looks so terrible. And it's a combination of like he looks bad, but he also looks bad. You know what I mean? Like you can tell he's like dying
Yeah,
inside.
yeah.
Zombie actually fits really,
Yes.
honestly, because he's so out of it. And it's such a dick move, honestly, him going to see her about this. But then at the same time, it makes complete sense because she's his friend and she's also really the only one besides Goompa who kind of officially knows about them. And like
Yeah.
he's just had this kind of like really like happy, like, I love him so much. I can't live without him moment with Goompa. Like, there's no way he's going to Goompa to talk about this. Like,
Yes, and also I
he's-
feel like Goompa would start asking questions and want to talk about it, and it doesn't look like he wants to dive into that
No.
thing. Yeah.
he just needs to be with someone who knows like why he's broken.
Mhm.
And it's just
You know, I don't really like what she says there. Like, stop acting crazy. Why so emotional? How old are you? I don't know.
I feel like it makes sense though, because don't forget we had this kind of discussion when we had that episode where she was like, I love him, and I'm like, bitch, please, you don't love him. Like, you know, she's over him already. Like, maybe that's it, you know what I mean? Like, she's like, it's not the end of the world, like, you know, you're not gonna die from this. Like, she's like, it's not, and it's like she doesn't get it because if like situations, like if things that happen like in the future episodes didn't happen, he might die from this because he's given up. Like he's back on his like destructive, I don't care if I live or die mode, as long as Tawi goes down kind of thing, because he thinks that this is over. So this could literally kill him.
Yes, that's
like
true.
I mean, not in the ways that she's thinking, but she has no idea like the depth of the feelings that they have for each other because she's not experienced that. That's my take on this.
She's basing that on what she's been through, and her feelings weren't that
Exactly.
strong.
Yeah. And I mean, I do love that she calls him out though. I love how she calls him out, but then she doesn't like turn him away. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, she doesn't really say the right things to him, but as I said, that's based on her experience. So I think the fact that she, even though like it's kind of a dick move, she's a good friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even though she says the wrong things, her intentions are good, even though she doesn't know what she's talking about. And she's not wrong about venting.
Like, yeah, you're right. Like that thing really, I think it did some good to him. He writes, and I remember I was so curious when I saw this. I was like,
what he wrote.
Yes. Yeah. Fucking asshole, what the hell is up with you? You're heartless. Well, you know, and he does that. Yeah?
Yeah. I love how she does the things where she kind of like makes it into something else. Like makes his anger and his pain into something else.
Yes, because like I don't think that what she did there, the little, you know, things that she added makes it prettier, but it does transform it into something else, and it puts it under like a different perspective, and now it's like part of something bigger, and someone could relate. Like now it's art. Now someone could look at this and feel something. Like
it's not just like angry graffiti.
It's not just his emotions, but it's a part of something bigger. He's not alone in this. It's like it's a part of the urban history.
Yeah, and I feel like as well, not just that, it's another way of her showing that she's there for him in this moment. You know what I mean? Because she hasn't left him alone in it. So it's quite a cool thing that they do that. And just like the music in this scene as well, like it's an acoustic guitar or something, right? I think it's something that's strumming anyway.
I don't remember.
And it's just like oh my god, what a weird turn of events, people. Usually it's the other way around. You're like, the music, and I'm like, there was music. Yeah, there's this like really kind of like, I don't want to say sorrowful because it's not, but it's kind of I don't know, it's very kind of emotive and invoking of feeling. And I'm so surprised that you're just like, music, what?
Solemn.
um,
Solemn. Is there such a word?
Solemn. Yeah, solemn,
Yeah.
but also like there's something in it which
Mhm.
is like, it's not hopeful, but it's like, I don't know. You need to listen to it to know what I
Mhm.
mean.
Mhm.
So like
Mhm.
next time you watch, try and remember.
Well, I
Yeah,
think I
but
think I feel like I understand what you're trying to say based on the way the scene felt, and not.
yeah, this, put it this way, the music fits the scene like
Mhm.
perfect. Is was
Mhm.
why I commented on it, because it's
Mhm.
just so, and also it's really pretty. Like the music's really pretty.
Mhm.
Um so yeah, and it's like um
And then
when
he looks back and he watches this thing and
yeah,
ah.
he has a look to see what she does. It's just, I mean, yeah, I this episode for me is just, yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course, and it's so funny because he has this thing where like he comes in there and he's like so broken.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And he goes from like broken and full of despair, like and unable to even articulate how he feels kind of thing.
Mhm.
And then she's like, vent. So he
Mhm.
does. And he's it's so funny because like these are things that he could have said, down by the river, like,
Mhm.
fucking asshole, like, what is your problem? But he didn't. Like, he was so, like, it's so different. You know what I mean? Like, his attitude, like, he's going through those, what is it, like, the stages of grief or whatever, and like now he's hit anger.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and like a little bit of denial in there as well.
Mhm.
But it's
Mhm.
just like, it's so interesting because you see that, like, it's just, it goes from like when he's walking, let's just say he's walking in, he's basically a zombie. She like just is kind of nice to him, like she's kind to him, and he just like falls apart like on the ground. He just deflates,
Mhm. Mhm.
he covers his face, and then, like he vents, and it's like you see this like change, this catalyst. It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Um
And he switches to action. Now he's going to do
yeah.
things. Now it
Yeah,
feels like
it's
he
just,
wants to get to the end of it. He wants to get to the finish line somehow.
yeah. And I don't know whether this helped him or not. You know what I mean? Like, it was, while I agree, and I agree with her sentiment that you need to vent and everything,
Mhm.
he's clearly showing us he's angry, but as
Mhm.
we know that his anger is destructive. Like, his
Mhm.
anger is not a road to positivity and growth and,
Mhm.
getting over it. Like, that's not his intention. And so the anger is not great. But I love this next scene where he goes and he sees Yoke, and he just kind of stops because like he knows that he was like
An
an
asshole.
asshole. He knows
Yeah.
that he was a dickhead, and that and it's funny because like this hot scene here as well shows how much their relationships changed, shows how much they view each other now, and he
Mhm.
feels so bad, and like obviously now he knows what it feels like to have your face kicked in,
Mhm.
and it doesn't feel good. Like, if for
Mhm.
him it would feel even worse because like besides the physical act of being kicked in the face, he also was just like kicked while he was down, like emotionally. And
Mhm.
I mean, kind of probably Yoke feels a little like if you take what Sean feels, like Yoke would probably feel a tiny a little bit of that as well, because like they're friends,
Mhm.
and that's kind of a really like asshole thing to do.
Mhm.
Um
But I think
and
it's
I
interesting
love,
that he trusted back. He, like, in his head, he trusted back Black, and then he was kind of betrayed by Black, right? And so he
yeah,
goes back to his old support system, the thing that kept him afloat, just functioning just enough, well enough to get to him to act on his revenge plan and kind of move towards his goal. So he's back
yeah,
to this old support system,
yeah.
to the friend
And
that
it's,
kind of knew that something happened and cares about him, but doesn't really know him very well, but has seen him vulnerable. So he goes to her being like that again.
yeah,
And then to York as well, because he was a friend before.
Yeah.
Now that White is not there, because White was able to give him everything, or at least he was able to take, have all that he needed just from White.
Well, I mean, White kind of gave him Yoke as well a little bit too, because like even though they were friendly before, they've become friends more since all of this has been happening. And I just like I love how like this is such a good representation of their friendship as well. How when Yoke turns around, like he's pissed, right? And then he gets a look at Sean's face and he's like, what the fuck? And he just forgives him so quickly because he looks so messed up and so like
beautiful,
fucked that he's that he's just like, what on earth happened to you? And and then so of course Sean's like, I want the copy in, let's do this, blah blah blah. And I love how Yoke says, have you talked to Black? Like even though Sean is currently giving him what he wanted only hours ago, maybe Yoke has also taken this time to think like, wow, he reacted that strongly, maybe there's more to it. Or maybe Gunpa had a conversation with Yoke as well off screen when he took him to the hospital to say like, this is a group decision, or like something like that, you handled it wrong or whatever. Because the way he sort of says to him, like he says, like, have you spoken to Black about it? Or like, fuck Black.
Maybe also Dan was not there, so he did not feel the need to do the peacocking dance.
The pressure, that's right. And also it's interesting too because the way he says about, have you spoken to Black? But like they might not know what's going on, but he's picked up on stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like he is acknowledging the fact that
the dynamic is different
as well. Is different. And the way he's like, forget about him, go get the cop. And straight away, Yoke is like, are you guys fighting again? Because we make decisions together, which sounds like something that, as I said, maybe Gunpa must have said to him, because that's not how he was behaving earlier in the day, Yoke. He'd forgotten the we make decisions together thing.
But he says this thing again because he mentioned it when he was talking to Graham about his feelings and everything. I want to get this over with, but now it means something completely different. I feel like it means punishing Tawi, but if that is the only thing that's keeping him alive now, well, then it means that he wants to get over
he has a death
with
wish.
His life as well.
What's the point? He has nothing. And it's so like, I mean, we talked about this before about how so probably not the most healthy of relationships, but like at the same time, you understand why he is like that. Like it's not something that happened to him easily, he didn't get to that place by just having a few bad things happen to him. Like a lot of bad shit happened to him. He lost a lot of stuff, and now he finally found something that he thought was his, that he thought was worth being around for, worth fighting for, with doing things differently. And this person who seemed to, like, one of his major goals be protecting him and keeping him safe and supporting him, is now like kicking him in the face and saying to him, don't come near me. Like it's just so, what else can he do? Like he doesn't know what to do here.
He's not processing this, but it's just like, how do you process something like this?
Well, he's not, like he's gone from like, he literally went from devastated and broken to angry to like, it's just, that's it, destruction.
Yes.
And it's funny because he even has, like, as I said, he hits the denial thing a little bit, because like where they're talking about, about, they keep bringing Black up and stuff, and he's like, Black isn't interested, he doesn't want to do this, like they had some conversation about it. Like, so he's just like, he doesn't want to deal with any of that, like he's not telling anybody anything. And even to the point where like Graham sort of says to him, and I feel like if it wasn't for the fact that he looks so messed up, you could interpret some of what he's saying here, like if you were in the know, like Gunpa knows that he cares about him and that he's afraid for him and stuff like that. This line here where he says something like, I don't want him to be a part of it. I'll do it myself, right? Now, like that, you could almost, if you were Goompa and he didn't look beat to hell, you could be like, oh, he's trying to protect him or whatever. But he looks beat to hell, and Goompa's like, are you having a problem with him? And it's just like, I'm like, Goompa, look at his face. Do you not have any questions? Does anybody, you know what I mean? Like, I get Yoke asking a question and then like leaving it alone because they're not. It's not. He's not. It's not that deep. Do you know what I mean? Like in their situation, but like Goompa, like, don't you have questions? I would have questions.
mean, they have
I would have
questions.
so
They
many
do,
questions.
obviously. I
But
mean, the thing that the idea. Well, okay, York broke down, whatever. But I feel like they continue the conversation, and it's like they justify to do so because he appears and he's obviously not all right. Someone beat him up,
yeah,
and he's like, "Let's do stuff. Let's blah blah blah." And I'm like, no, you're like you're in the right mind to decide anything
exactly.
right now. Something is obviously happening. Like,
I know, right?
yeah.
I know.
And they
And
are
it's like,
asking
and
questions. They keep bringing
they
that up, and of
they
course,
are. I guess they're
yeah.
talking. What do they say when you say you're talking around it? Like they're trying to, which I guess makes sense because he's a little bit like a wild animal. So you're trying to like not just go at come at him from the front. You know, it's like when you have to pick up your cat. Sometimes you gotta sneak around from behind and try and grab him because if you come head on, then like claws are out. They're sneak attacking him by asking like questions about Black.
Yeah. That's right.
So
It's
and
like,
then of course.
oh yes. Oh.
So what were you gonna say?
They arrive. No, it's fine. They
Yes.
arrive. Them.
Yeah. Yes. And it's so funny because I remember when this episode happened and stuff because I went, like this would air for me. Like I think when this finished airing, it was about 3 a.m., 3:30 a.m. or something like that, my time on like a Sunday. So like in the morning, early Monday morning. And I'd have to work the next day, everything. But I'd have to go on Twitter for like at least half an hour and just see what people were saying because I was obsessed. And on this particular day, I definitely needed like emotional support. So I was on Twitter for, I don't know, a good hour. It was almost 5 a.m. I think when I finally went to bed for about 3 hours. And I remember like I was getting like kind of frustrated because I was like having a mental breakdown and there was so many people just thirsting about the bad guy, like the leader, the guy that set up, and just like so many people. I mean, I get it; he's a good-looking guy, but like it was just like most of my timeline was people thirsting about this guy. I'm like, what about the fact that Sean is trying to kill himself? It's just like, what? Why is no one talking about this? But yeah, it was just when I saw him, I was just like, oh yeah, it's funny to me now, but at the time, I was like, I need emotional support. So yeah. It's interesting as well, I feel like in this scene here too, because you see like the different levels of their exposure to what they're doing. Like I feel like in this moment you see like Goompa react first. Like he's obviously someone who pays attention to his surroundings and whatever else. You have Dan covering Yoke, which is very cute. Sean getting shot because he is so fucking out of it. Like he's just not even like with it sort of thing when it first all goes down. And then you've got like Graham who like seems to be freaking out. Like I feel like we've had these moments where obviously it's usually Black and Sean. We've talked about this before. It's usually Black and Sean who would go in and do stuff, do the risky stuff, while Graham and Yoke were like the backup distraction or whatever. So and we also know that Graham's like fight in this or whatever is very kind of like, oh, what's the word I'm looking for, Morella? Philosophical versus like, you know what I mean? Like the rest of them who you feel like they're down in the dirty of it. Yeah. And and even Yoke, Yoke's had that moment where he was followed and like, so they've felt the risk of it more so than what we've seen for Graham. So it makes sense, that he has a little freak out, but it's interesting because you get to see these different dynamics. And so I like that, but it just there's so many things in this bit as well. Like when he finally snaps out of it and Goompa's like, get the smoke bombs, and then he's like starts like calling out their names. I mean, like if they didn't already know their names, It's like, thanks for that, Graham. Now everybody knows one of them is called Sean and one of them is called Yoke. Which I thought was really, really funny. And there was another funny moment as well. You know, the bit when after they throw the Graham throws the smoke bomb and everything, and they all start running, and Dan like pushes Yoke in front of him, and he's like, "Yoke, you first." There was so many jokes on Twitter about this as well, because of course, you know, the actor who plays Yoke is named first.
Oh. Oh yeah.
So like he was like saying like, "Yoke, you go first," kind of thing, but like they were like, it sounds very like caveman. Yoke, you first.
Yeah.
So there were lots of jokes about that, and of course now I can't watch that part of the scene without laughing, because that's like what I see, like what I hear as well.
Does he say it in English?
No. He says it in, but you know what I mean? Like, you know when you know what something means, even if it's in a different language, you like you hear it in your brain. Yeah.
I see.
But yeah, and then of course
Sean remains behind. Yeah. And he looks crushed, and he looks like he kind of accepts his fate.
Oh, he gives up. It's the most depressing thing ever. He's just like, well, fuck me.
I guess this is how it ends.
Yeah, like
it was bound to happen.
Yeah, he gets his like medal, like he like stick or whatever, and so you know he's gonna go out fighting, but like at the same time, it's just like not expecting anything good to happen in this moment. Like he is just not. He is just done.
Yeah, he's just like, I guess this is how it is. Okay.
Yeah. He's like, peace out, see you later. And then of course the lights go out. It's like, what a mystery. Spooky.
Who is it?
And then here comes this cutie little patootie pocket ninja. He's so cute. Like I know he's not meant to be cute in this scene, but he just is.
He is.
And like I remember, because this scene was like a salve. There was like a soothing lotion on my heart. Because I was like, yes. And
this is how it felt when I watched it now as well.
And like he rescued him, and like when he touches him, and Sean's like reacts, because of course he got shot in the arm, and he sees the blood, and Wyatt's like, what?
But can you imagine seeing him? Like, you're Wyatt, you came there, you see all that development, you decide to turn the lights down, and you go to see your boyfriend, not officially, and you see him in that state, shot, you know, not doing anything, almost in a position where obviously he'd die if you were not there, just several seconds later.
Right.
I don't know, like...
It's enough to freak you out, like, fully.
Yeah.
And the way he's like, let's go, and Sean is so confused.
He is.
Sean, like, I feel like Sean's like, am I hallucinating? Sean's like, I already died and I just don't know it yet. Because like, how is this happening right now? And the way he's like looking at him, I remember actually when we watched this and this scene was starting to happen, I remember saying to my mum, oh, this is the scene from the trailer, the trailer, the intro. And I was like, oh, he's gonna be like, what are you doing here? You know, or whatever, like be confused. Because the way he looks at him, you know, even as like White is dragging him out of that situation, and it makes sense because you would be like really fucking confused. And I'm just like, Sean. Even later on, I'm like, Sean, they're not even wearing the same clothes. Like he's wearing the same clothes as when you guys had sex. Like this is what, like 2 days later, and White is still wearing the same outfit. Because he hasn't had any chance to change his clothes because like
Black is back in his apartment. Yes, he cannot go to Sean.
And he won't go home, so like he's still wearing the same clothes. Meanwhile, Black had something different on, like, so he's a bit slow, you know. I mean, I get it, there's a lot happening. You can understand why he doesn't notice these little things, but it's just like, I was so frustrated. I remember being like, and I was like, and then I felt really good at the end of this episode because of the way it ended. I was so sure it was going to be, next episode was going to just be like, oh, they're going to have a conversation.
No.
Ah,
No.
so
They had
naive I
to.
was.
They had to torture us for a bit longer.
I must admit though, like I think the way it's done is great. Even though like at the time I hated it. I was like, because you had to wait a week, right? Like it was like torture.
No,
And
it was perfect.
And we've said this before, because it was on a Sunday as well. It was like you were literally wishing your week away.
Exactly.
So that
It's so
Sunday would come
frustrating.
around. Yeah. So you could watch this. And then like literally, as I said, when I finished watching it, it would be Monday already. And I would feel like I was just wishing my life away. I mean, it was totally worth it, but it was
Mhm.
just so frustrating and tormenting
was.
at the time. Yeah, but it's some of these episodes coming up, they're so good. They're so good. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Well, thank you for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
I hope you had fun. This was a very interesting episode to talk about.
Yeah, I was dreading this one, honestly. I thought I might. Like, it's one of those episodes that, like, as I said, traumatized me so much at the time, but also I do love it. It is a really good episode, and it really showcases, like, Off's acting and stuff as well here. And, well, both of
And
them really. Like,
Gallons.
that scene, as we said, that scene by the bridge is just,
Yeah.
especially as well, given, you know, how much affection and that they have each other for each other in real life. Like, they just went for it. It was great. It's a very heavy scene.
It is. We almost started fighting there when we're talking about that scene. That must be interesting. That must be fun for our listeners, I suppose. Apparently, they like that.
We got super passionate as well.
Well, see you or talk to Zoe actually on the next episode, and goodbye for now.
Bye.